Tony Gonsolin now available. First question's from Alana Rizzo. Go ahead, Alana.
Tony, great outing today. You're able to set a career high in strikeouts with 8. What do you think works so effectively for you in terms of that swing and miss?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely had the changeup split going today. Probably the biggest contributor to that is being able to land it, which was huge for me. Kind of later in the game, after that second inning there, I started using some of the breaking balls a little bit more and was able to land those as well. So I think like the combination of those three things really solidified the swing and miss.
As you continue to want to show this club what it is that you can bring to the table, how important was this second outing of the season for you to kind of build off what you did in your last time out, your first time?
Yeah, I think there's definitely some consistency I can work on. First outing, I had really good fastball. The split's kind of always there, so that was nice. This outing kind of had all my off-speed stuff. I didn't really feel like the fastball was as great today. But, trying to find some consistency and getting everything on the same page will definitely help with that.
This is a team that continues to pick up one another. How big was what Blake Tryon was able to do for you to keep that earned run average for you at 0?
Yeah, I mean, earned run average is whatever. China came in there and gave us a good, or shut down that inning and picked me up there. So it was great to see that. And then you see as Kenley did the same thing in the ninth. Just great to see how good our bullpen is, how good all of our guys are.
This is a very different Padres team this season than we've seen in years past. How much confidence does it give to you to be able to kind of go through this very potent lineup as well?
Yeah, I feel like top to bottom, they can do some damage. They definitely have their guys that can just really get you in that top like 5 or 6 or so that really will hammer some mistakes. But it's nice to go through that lineup a couple times and be able to get the results that I got.
Thank you, Tony. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Next question is from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Hey, Tony, when you're optioned down to the alternate training set, what are your days like while you're there?
It's pretty similar to up here. I think it's just a little bit earlier days. We're starting earlier. It's kind of spring training-ish as opposed to, getting the later starts. But they're very similar to up here. We get in there, get our work in. We'll have our rotation of, whenever we're throwing on or whatever days we're supposed to pitch. But, just get down there, get our work in, and not stay for too long.
It didn't look like it was a challenge, but could it be a challenge in the sense that, like, when you get options, you're still pitching in minor league games, in a game setting? Can be sort of a challenge to stay sharp?
No, I mean, the good thing about our organization is we have, great hitters, great pitchers. So down in that off-site place, we have, some guys that are just fantastic hitters. They're swinging the bats well down there, trying to chomping at the bit to get up here, help the team out.
Thank you.
Next question from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead, Bill.
Tony, I don't remember if we've asked this before, but why were you late for summer camp? And do you look kind of at your situation now and think you'd be on the team today if you'd been here from the start?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way to prove it, but I'm pretty sure I got like a false positive corona test. Tested positive once, have not tested positive since then. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing really I can do about it.
That was during the intake when you reported to camp?
It was about a week before the intake.
Do you look back at that at all and say if you'd had full summer camp, you could have made the team to begin with and not have to do this back and forth?
Obviously, in hindsight, it's easy to look back and say, like, if I did what I was doing in our summer camp and all that stuff, a bunch of speculation, all that stuff. But, I was just trying to get as ready as quick as I can and stay as healthy as I can be. And then, when I get my opportunities up here, take advantage.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Got a question from Eric Steven. Go ahead, Eric.
Tony, I was just wondering, when you're up for a start like this, do they tell you like what's happening like after today? Do you think you're getting another start? Do you know any of that beforehand, or do you know now?
No, just, trying to be as ready as I can be, whether it's staying up here and being able to, work my 5-day or 6-day or whatever it is up here and get all my work in between outings, or if it's going back to the off-site facility and, getting the same work in just at a different place.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tony. Dave Roberts.
All good? How'd it go? That sound all right? Make any mistakes? To be honest with you. Is that fair?
Dave Roberts now available. First question's from Alana Rizzo. Go ahead, Alana.
Dave, how satisfying is it that you're able to get some offense a couple of different ways tonight?
It was great, and they've been grinding. But CT to start that inning off with a bunt, and Eddie's good at bat. Then we got the safety squeeze in there with Austin. A lot of good things happening tonight, and then obviously that big blow by JT. And not to be lost is that double play ball with Gratterall to Kike to first base, and handling a sinker from Gratterall was a big play by Kike to come into the game and impact the game. Tonight, it was Tony just got us off to a good start, and was in command from pitch one. The split change was on point tonight, and it was good to see us get a lead and then push a couple across late.
Yeah, you had mentioned the bunts and the safety squeeze. Obviously, you guys are constantly in communication, but was that just more of a directive coming from you, or is that just kind of on the player themselves based on that situation in that inning?
Yeah, I think that was a situational call that I made, and but the drag bunt by CT to get us going, that was on him. So Austin gets a hit, then we got first and second base, we got action, and so that was good stuff.
Is it just a little unfair for the opposition to have to face Gratterall?
I think yes. 100 mile an hour bowling ball, and you're not really, there's no familiarity, no history. And I think that slider to Manny was 91. So it's an uncomfortable at bat. And I like the way that Bruce Dar is really starting to mature. And, that's a big leverage spot against a very good part of that order.
How big was it for your closer to come in and pick up Scott Alexander, Kenley inheriting a bases loaded situation and gets out of it to preserve the win?
It was great. It was great. Blake was good. Petey was good. And then obviously with that situation with Scotty getting some ground balls, just couldn't make, didn't hit it right at the guys. And for Kenley to come in, get a couple punch right there. And this is as good as, the characteristics that we talk about with the cut fastball. It just had that late life, that upshoot kind of thing tonight. So that was really good to see.
And finally, Skip, is Will Smith okay? I understand he left the game with the sore neck.
So there was a collision in San Diego, and there's a little bit of remnants from that. So it's he's been good. And actually today came in saying he felt as good as he has in the past week. And then he fielded that bunt, and it kind of locked up on him a little bit. So we had to go a man short. Austin picked us up, and so we'll give Will another day. He's day to day, but we'll have Austin in there catching tomorrow.
Testing, everything was clear for Will?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next question is from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, we talked about managing maybe perhaps a little differently, just a shorter season and bigger bullpens. And you have a bunch of guys throwing well down there, but going with Planin there against Tatis, is that like a spot where, you sensed it was a huge moment and, you maybe go into your best guy in that spot? Yeah,
it was. And I just think that, the way we've been swinging the bats and the way that Davies was throwing the baseball tonight, that fifth inning, that could have been the game. And so I just felt that to have Trinan ready for that spot, it could have been the difference. And he got a big out for us. And for him to go back out there to do an up and down, I think flipped the game a little bit for us.
Thank you.
Next question is from Kerry Osborne. Go ahead, Kerry.
Dave, back to that bunt. It was a spark. It seemed like it was a bit of a spark. Can you just describe how key of a moment the moments those were in the fifth inning?
Well, I think that obviously AJ leads off with a base on balls, and then CT doesn't bunt for a hit very often. So having the third baseman play back to do that surprised everyone. And now you got first and second base, and Eddie gets a base hit, then you score a run, you got first and third, and then right there, Austin, just to have him be in the box and do something productive to potentially drive in a run by way of bunt. It was just that extra energy, and it's fun to, I love the homer as much as anybody, but to manufacture is also fun too.
There's so much talk about that, the bunt being an endangered species in baseball. Do you think that particular moment kind of created a greater sense of a greater element of surprise?
I think so. And going forward, if, CT can have them respect the bunt, then you get the third baseman playing in, and some balls might sneak through that six hole. And, first and third baseman playing on Austin, same thing might happen. So I think that just that versatility is good for our offense.
Thanks, Dave.
Next question is from Eric Steven. Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
Dave, with Tony, what's next for him? You still have the long stretch with no days off. Are you planning to keep him in the rotation, or have you decided that yet?
We've got some good discussions, Eric. I think that Tony's done everything he needed to do to earn another start. So, it's going to be a good discussion, and we'll see what happens.
If you guys decide to maybe add a reliever or something, I'm just hypothetically speaking here, are you still considering pushing back the other starters another day the next time through, or does that just kind of depend on a case by or day by day basis?
It's certainly front of mind and a topic of conversation. I think that Tony's start tonight certainly makes the idea of giving our guys an extra day more sense. So we're going to continue to have those talks.
Thanks.
Next question is from Jeff Saunders. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave. With as much of velocity as there is in the game, how maddening is it a day with Zach Davies when he's on like he is?
No, I just think that it's really, I don't like being the other side of the dugout when he's throwing everything at the knee and changing speeds and not getting barrels on the baseball. But for me, it's fun to watch a guy like that pitch and execute a scouting report, work guys to different quadrants. It's fun to watch. And I don't see it as frustrating. I just think that that's what he does, and he's exceptional at it.
What's the key to getting to him?
I think you just got to be, stubborn and trying to get the ball in the air, get him up. But, tonight he just didn't make many mistakes out over the plate or above the knee. And so when he does that, you got to try to play the off field, because if you're trying to pull him, potentially it's just hard to get the ball elevated. But a credit to Zach, kept him in the ball game all night.
Great. Thanks, Dave.
Time for one more. Go ahead, Jack Harris.
Hey, Dave, with the situation Tony's in right now, going back and forth between you guys in the training side, is it challenging that, he's not having real games to pitch in sort of, as he would in a normal year when he's not with you guys?
Yeah, it is. It's certainly challenging, and I can't speak for Tony, but to not, be optioned and play in a regular AAA game and something that you're used to. We've got some very good players over there at that secondary site, but you're still playing the same uniform. So to get that adrenaline, but to be mindful that you could be called at any moment's notice and you got to be prepared. That's hard. It's different, but a credit to all those guys that are doing it, and the coaches as well that are over there.
And he mentioned he had a positive test before before he came into camp. I mean, how impressive have these two starts been for him, given arriving late and having to deal with the training site, and I mean, has he been surprising you these 2 hours?
I don't know if it's surprising. I'm just really proud of him, just how he's handled everything. Tony, last year with an injury with the rib, and obviously late to summer camp and testing positive. And so to kind of stay the course and continue to stay ready, he's done a great job for us.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, guys.
Joe, tell this guy that Barnsley's was a sacrifice.
I try to tell him. You want me to talk to him?
I'm talking to him.
Oh.
You want to talk to him? Yeah, it's a sacrifice. He overran the bag. I'll tell you that. Overrunning the bag is not hard.
No, but it's like the guy's at third base, and it's like a safety. It's a squeeze. So it's like
he's saying, and he's saying he's not 100% sure, he's 98% sure. He calls somebody the lias, and they agree to they're going to check it out. He's saying that if you're not the guy who gets out on the play, you can't get a sacrifice.
that's not true.
But he didn't get forced out at second. Eddie was safe at second, and then he overran the bag, and then they tagged him after he overran the bag. So it's not the same thing.
And that one, you got the way, unless the umpire calls safe, which he didn't, you got to hold the bag.
No, that's not true.
Yeah, it's true. I've seen a bunch of scoring decisions like that.
Okay, but if you're
I'm not saying it's right.
If you're stealing second and you slide in, you're safe, and then you go past the bag, you still get a stolen.
If you slide right past the base, if you're safe by a mile, you don't hold the base. It's not
Okay, so if it's first and third, you do a squeeze. Pitcher comes in, he has no play, it's a one hopper, and he just turns to get two. He throws it to first, second base. This guy scores on the squeeze. You're telling me that you don't get a sacrifice on that?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't say which runner you're.
His example was, this doesn't really make sense either, first and second. I hear your argument too. It's a different argument, but
Yeah.
it's just a better rule.
First questions from Alana Rizzo. Go ahead, Alana.
Justin, before we get to the 3-run home run that really gave you guys some insurance in this one, how nice was it to see a little bit of small ball there in the earlier innings to be able to get you guys on the board and get some traction offensively?
Yeah, you know, sometimes when things aren't clicking, you gotta, you know, do some different things and manufacture runs yourself. And I don't think, you know, with CT, it was necessarily a design play. CT and AJ, I think AJ wanted a run, and CT wanted a bunt, and you know they both executed it pretty well, and that kind of got that inning going. And then Barnesy did a nice job with the safety squeeze, getting it down, and then we're able to put some good at bats together late in the game.
It certainly hasn't been from lack of effort. It's just been sometimes it hasn't been able to be executed appropriately. How nice was it to be able to get that stuff on the board and then tack on there in the later inning?
Yeah, obviously, you know, Tony was throwing the ball great, and Davies was doing what he does, and you know, pounding the bottom of the zone and not giving a whole lot, not making too many mistakes, and to find a way to scratch across and get some runs on the board first was huge. And then, as always, to be able to add on late was great.
Your second home run of this season gives you guys a huge cushion. Is there any part of you that after you reached the milestone yesterday, a bit of pressure comes off of you?
I mean, no, I wasn't thinking about the milestone. I mean, I feel like I'm going to go out and play and try to do whatever I can to help the team win. And, you know, if I'm on the field and taking good at bats like I do, I felt like that was something that was going to happen this year. I didn't really have to try to get there.
Tony Gonsolin making a spot start for the second time this season. He hit a career high in strikeouts with 8. This is a guy that is trying to make the most of his opportunities when they're given. What were you noticing from him on the hill tonight?
Yeah, his splitty changeup, whatever you want to call it, was just gross tonight. I mean, I don't know how many swings and misses he had it, but it was unbelievable. He was able to throw it for a strike when he needed to throw it for a strike. He was able to expand with it when he needed to expand with it. And obviously they weren't seeing it well. So, and then you throw in the other 3 pitches that are all plus pitches as well. You know, it makes him a pretty good pitcher. And I know we all enjoy when Tony has the ball and he's on the mound. He works fast, he throws strikes, he attacks hitters. So it's great to play defense behind him.
Thanks, Justin.
Next question's from Jeff Sanders. Go ahead, Jeff. Next question from Mario Castillo. Go ahead.
Justin, there's been a lot of talk about being 60-game season, the games mattering more. But when you guys are out there, is there a sense of more urgency, like knowing that every game matters a little more? Do you feel that?
I mean, it's always been our mentality here for as long as I've been here to win one game at a time and take it day by day, and nothing changes in the 60-game season. It's just as important, if not more important, to focus on today and do what we have to do to win today, and then worry about tomorrow. So it's something that we've been preaching and practicing all along in this clubhouse. So it's nothing new for this 60-game season for us.
Thank you.
Got one question from Ron Cervenka. Go ahead, Ron.
Justin, do you think that what we saw tonight, the bunting, is that a good way to get out of a funk that the team's in? I mean, like you had mentioned, changing things up.
Yeah, sometimes, when things aren't going right or you're hitting balls hard and not getting hits, you got to find ways to manufacture runs, whether that's bunting or mixing in hit and runs, safety squeezes, whatever you need to do to manufacture and kind of build some momentum and build some confidence for the offense. And, you get to see a number go up on the board is good for the offense and helps, kind of create momentum and build confidence.
One last thing, do you think Rios gets credit for that stolen base, or should get credit
for
the stolen base? Yeah, I mean, he overslid it, but is it a stolen base?
Well, it was a safety squeeze, so it was a bunt, and I think that Austin should get credit for a sacrifice on the play, even though Eddie overran second. He got there, was safe, and then went past the bag. They ended up throwing behind him, tagged him out. It should be a sacrifice and a fielder's choice and an RBI for Austin. But that's my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks, everybody.